Hi, this is Nick Baspley from Canaweld, based out of Vaughan, Ontario. Today we're going to do a quick video on our TIG AC DC 301 with pulse capabilities. We're going to do a quick talk about the size of the machine, and then we're going to run down all the settings and the different features of the machine for you guys to take a look at, okay? Okay, so first we're going to start with what kind of welding we're going to be doing. We're going to start right here, and we're going to take a look and see the green light is highlighting that it's on high frequency AC. So that's going to be all ready to go for welding aluminum. But maybe we want to weld some mild steel or some stainless steel instead. So let's switch this over to high frequency DC. And as you can see now, some different parameters have been selected, but we're going to get back through that. Also, we have the option to move into scratch or lift start DC, depending on how you like to work and what you're going to be doing. Lastly, this machine is also capable of doing stick welding. To do stick welding, we'll just press it one more time, and we're going to be moved into stick welding, and it'll only allow you to make the adjustments that apply to stick welding when it's in this mode. Okay, so after that we're going to decide whether we want to be tacking or if we want to use a two-step or a four-step approach with our torch. So let's go back up to high frequency DC, and here we have the two-step with the torch. So you press the button, hold it down, and you'll have power until you take your finger off the button. Or we'll put it in four-step, where we'll press the button and we will continue to have power even with our finger off until we press it fully again, and then we will turn off the torch. And lastly, we can set it down here so that we can do just spot welding, where you will press the button once and you'll get just a short burst, so you can do a little bit of tack, and then the machine will turn off automatically, which helps speed up doing your tacks and fitting up all of your work. So once we have decided what we want to do, we got high frequency DC, we got two-step start. Now, what kind of a tungsten are we going to be using? Today, we're going to be setting it for a 3.2 millimeter tungsten. So we're going to press this button with this symbol, and this denotes the size of the tungsten. So let's press it, and it's set at 2.4. So let's turn it up, because today we want to use the big guys. And we're going to run that at the 3.2 mil tungstens. Press it again to lock it in. And now we're set there. We also have the option, depending on what you're more comfortable with, by using this button to select between amps and volts, which is a nice little feature. When we're in the DC function, we can also select the waveform. This particular machine will do square wave, it'll do pulse, it'll do sinusoidal wave, and it'll do triangle wave. So let's check these out. As you can see here, we now have square wave selected. We can move that over to pulse. We can press the button again so it blinks, and now we have triangle wave selected, or we can select the sinusoidal wave. So let's go back to the pulse function so that we can check out these features as well. So when we're in the pulse function, we now have control over the AC balance, which will basically allow us to clean the aluminum while we travel along and weld it. It's adjustable here, you can see, from 10 to -35. And we can also control the frequency as well, from 250 all the way down to 40. There we go. So once we have that set to the way we like it, we can move on. So now that we have our wave function all selected, we can go down here and we can adjust how we want it to pulse. So today I'd like a nice slow pulse so that we can talk about these features here. So when we're in the pulse mode, we can select here and here. So this is going to change basically the high and the low of the pulse, how hot it's going to get and how cold it's going to get. And down here we can adjust the timing of the pulse to make it longer or to make it shorter. So right here we have the up, set that to 100. We have the lower, we can turn that down to about 50. And then now we have the timing. So we'll make a nice long sweeping pulse. Okay. There we go. So now we have it set about as low and as long as it can go. Okay, and so for our last bit of selections, we've switched over into high frequency DC. So here we can see the blinking green light is below the bottle. So we know that this is going to control the pre-flow of gas. So the gas that comes out before we actually begin to deliver the power to shield your materials. So here is the pre-flow of gas. From here, we're going to move into the upslope. So that's going to be how the machine gets into its current. We can move over here to the overall that we're going to be running. And from there, we can set the downslope to roughly the same. Then we can set the post-flow of gas, so that is the gas that will continue to run once the torch has stopped working. Turn that down a little bit because 6 seconds is a lot of gas. Okay. So lastly, in the top right-hand corner, you'll see memory and program. This machine has the ability to memorize almost 100 jobs, so you can dial in the machine to the way you want it, and then pick out the program that you want to run, and the machine will automatically set up itself. That is a little bit longer for me to explain, so we're going to get into that into the next video. So today we've just done the basics, and the next video we do with this, we're going to learn how to set the memory of the machine once we have it set the way we like it, and then program it in, and then we're going to learn how to recall those programs so that we can weld immediately the way we want to do it with minimal setup. Okay, so now that we've run through the setup, we'll just talk about some of the other parameters of the machine. This machine can run as low as 5 amps, or, like I said, because it's the AC/DC 301, we can turn this up to 300. This machine at 210 will have a 100% duty cycle, which means you can weld all day long and you don't have to worry about the machine overheating or anything like that. And 210 is quite a bit of power for you to get most of your jobs done. Lastly about this machine, if you are going to be pushing it even harder and you have larger projects, we have a water cooler version of this machine available as well. So there's another adapter that's almost this size but a bit smaller that's going to fit underneath. They're all compatible and mated together. It looks exactly the same, and that's going to pump water through the unit and through your water-cooled TIG torch to keep everything nice and cool, so that when you're welding away all day on those big heavy things, you're not burning your hands or burning up the machine or putting excess stress on anything. Thank you very much for watching. I'm Nick Baspley from Canaweld. Stay safe and have a lot of fun.